518, and I'm using my water brush to lift the color directly from the tip of the pencil and lay it on into a wash over the top of the colors from previous videos which have had time to dry. This way you get a nice saturated color that goes on smooth and can be blended out really easily. Although I did find that while this method works for me with my hero brushes, it didn't work too well with these Raffinate pencils, because I don't know if my batch is old or if it was just some defect I've got or what, but with the Raffinate brushes, when I do this, taking it directly off the pencil, I found it left behind a really gritty residue that I then spend half the rest of my time wiping off of the page as I work on other colors. So I abandon this method and go straight back into drawing it onto the paper and using my water brush to activate the pigment and blend it all out and smooth it again. And I'm doing this in a light wash because I know I'm just going to come back in and add more layers over the top of it again, so don't worry if it lifts up too much of the color that's underneath. An important thing about your colored pencils, or watercolor pencils, or watercolor paints, or anything like that, is to always make a swatch chart. Because the color at the end of your pencil, or on your tube, is not the color that your paint's going to come out. So if you make yourself a card, then it will work great. Because then you can just come in with whatever, you can see the colors and know exactly which one you want to grab. And I recommend you do one with a wet side and one with a dry so you know how it looks. Okay, I'm using 558 here from the previous video to come back in and put back in some of the shadows that got washed out. I'm drawing them straight onto the thing and then coming back in with my water brush to smooth it all back out and blend it in. And then I'm going to let it dry for about half an hour. And then I'm going to start using my hero brushes. I'm using 861 first, which is a sort of orangish brown, really lovely and warm. I'm going to use that to enhance all the shadows. With these, I take the color directly from the tip of the pencil. Sorry. I take it directly from the pencil because it just works out great that way. There, you could. These hero brushes don't have the gritty issue that the Raffinate did. That swatch card you saw earlier was from my hero pencils, and on my real-time video I'll go into more depth about how I do it and stuff. Yeah, still working with the 861 pencil. When you see me wiping away right now, I'm wiping off all the grit from the Raffinate pencils. I think I spend half my time doing that. Once I'm done putting it on her skin, I also use that same color, 861, to put in some shadows on her shirt, which will get covered up later with green, but it does add a nice sort of underpainting to it. Now I'm switching to my 865 pencil, which is a nice light red, and I put it on her lips and I make sure I leave some highlight area on there. And I come in and I enhance the blush areas that I did earlier on her ears and on her cheeks and the tip of her nose and her eyes and on her shoulders. Just bringing that pink back in again and blending it in with the flesh colors. And then I'm using 835 and my, or no wait, 825, sorry, and my tiny little detail brush to take the color off the pencil again and come in and put in a darker, it's almost a brick red. Put that in on her lips and in some of the crevices for the blushed areas, just to make those darker, and on her tear ducts. And it just enhances some of that, darkens it up a bit, makes it look better. I use 835, which is that nice little purple color, very light, and I blot it out to make sure it doesn't get too dark, too saturated. And I just put it in on some of her shadows to cool off some of the areas and show some of that blue from the sky reflecting in on her skin. And now I'm using 830, which is a light peach color, to come in over the top of the skin tone where some of the previous raffinate skin color got washed out, and I'm using it to bring back in the saturation. And then I come in with the water brush on her lips to get rid of some of it because there was just too much. I put 835, that purple, on her eyeballs as a shadow, and 861, adding in some more of that shadow again. Just putting it back in where it got too washed off. And 835 for a base color for her irises, leaving her pupils and a highlight in there. And I also put it in her nostril region